What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 7 of our Team Sky career mode, where today we will be doing a couple stages from the Tour de Romandie, the Tour de Hongrie, so we get a chance to look at some of our young riders. Just want to make sure it's not the same guys riding over and over again. And then the Tour of Norway, also the Trobro Leon thrown in there. So two objectives today: a look at our younger riders with bags of potential, and the probably the two interesting looking stages at the Tour de Romandie. And unfortunately, bad news to start the episode. At the Rutland Melton Classic, Oyer Lascano had a fall and tore his patellar tendon, so he will be out until the start of June. A devastating blow to our potential lineups in the upcoming races. And we will open the episode with Stage 3 of the Tour de Romandie. It is a 161.5 kilometer hilly stage with a nice little flat end there. It looks like it'll be a pretty decent day for Fred Wright and Connor Swift if they can stick with the group. But I think right now, definitely going to gun for a stage win. Josh Tarling, after finishing second in the opening time trial stage, is sitting in 5th, but I don't think it's realistic to think that he's going to go ahead and go on to win the thing. And with a big mountain stage coming up in 2 stages, we're going to have to look after Max Poole as well, as he is our best option for the mountain stages. And with 47k left to go, I think it's our turn to try and push the pace. 2.5 minutes down to the front group. Fred right on the front pulling for Ben Healy, Connor Swift, Max Poole. Sam Watson just kind of sitting there as a buffer. But we need to knock some people out of this peloton, and quick, if we're going to have a shot at this stage win. And with 29k left to go, we have reached the bottom of the last big climb of the day. Fred Wright back on pacing duties. We're only 30 seconds down to the breakaway here. We are about to swiftly catch, and it's only 5k to the top, and Fred Wright, I think, can afford to turn the screw a little bit, get up to 87, let Connor Swift get ready to take over after that. Fred Wright, not in great fitness, didn't think he would be of particular use here in the final, so we're just going to try and rock with Ben Healy, Max Poole, and see if we can get them going, as we can set Fred Wright off as Yves Lampard trying to come around the side. We're not going to let that happen, and we're going to slow it down a little bit. We are peeling some people off of the back of the peloton here. It's down to 114, which is still too high for our liking, but that gap in between hills just looks a little too far for us to attack and stay away, so we're just going to keep grinding away, try and get over in first, and hold out until that last hill where we can attack with Ben Healy and Max Poole. And we have reached the bottom of the last hill of the day. Connor Swift fulfilling his job perfectly, and it's going to be Ben Healy to take over as soon as he's done, as he decides to go now, and Connor Swift can go do his own thing. Ben Healy really putting the hurt on Max Poole following him. Let's see if he can attack. We're going to set Sam Watson just to relax and do his own thing, as now Max Poole and Ben Healy have a 20-second gap on the rest of the field on this downhill section, and this could be the makings of the stage win we're looking for. They just have to get down and get over this last tiny hill with enough stamina to make it to the end, and we're going to use up some of Ben Healy's now at 92, trying to keep that 20-25 second gap for Max Poole. And with 4k left, we're going to go ahead and use the energy gel. Ben Healy almost out of that yellow bar, and with Max Poole, we're going to get him prepared, as now he can take off on his own. Ben Healy doing his job to perfection as well. And 2K left, still 17-second gap. Can we afford to turn it up a little bit more? We can. And that energy gel still has not popped, but we're going to go ahead and sprint and come across the line to take our win with Max Poole. It's stage 3 of the Tour de Romandie. Ben Healy, Connor Swift really set this up, but I mean, Max Poole definitely not the person I thought was going to win this stage, but congratulations to him. And there we see Max Poole on the podium ahead of Jasper Philipsen and Julian Alaphilippe, getting our stage win here at the Tour de Romandie. And it couldn't have gone to a better person because he is our GC candidate, which makes me think now maybe we do have a shot at this. As we go look at the GC, Ben Healy going to be up there in 3rd place, 11 seconds behind Jasper Philipsen of all people, but Max Poole sitting there tied with Adam Yates on 21 seconds behind. I think he has a real shot at this. And after the hilly time trial at stage 4, Max Poole in 8th place, 45 seconds behind, but we have reached stage 5, a 160.8 kilometer mountain stage that looks perfectly geared to the young Brit, as we're going to be leaning heavily on Chris Froome to try and navigate these early mountains before we try and make an attack somewhere along here and come in first in this stage. And with 21k to go, we have reached the bottom of the final climb of the day. Ineos has been pounding the pace, but we look to be in a pretty good spot stamina-wise. I mean, Max Poole, Chris Froome, Fred Wright, all looking pretty good. But Tom Pidcock trying to get this front group under control is going to be tough for our guys to follow. And with just under 15k to go, Andres Leknesson, Adam Yates, Hugh Carthy, Jonas Vozard all making moves. And we're going to have to ramp up our effort to try and chase that down. Ben Healy currently guiding our team through the mountains, but Max Poole's stamina looking a little lower than where I'd like it, so we're going to have to pull back once we've caught that. And it's Alaphilippe and Martinez directly in front of us. We're going to have to set a pretty moderate pace. The peloton only 20 riders right now, and I think we probably are in the best spot as a team currently. I don't see many of the same riders as Max Poole has to catch back up to Chris Froome. But Ben Healy doing a great job right now with just over 10k to go until the top. And with 9.5k left, Ben Healy's job is done for the day, as it's going to be Hugh Carthy, Giulio Ciccone, and Adam Yates looking to make a move now. Max Poole might not be in the best fitness to try and fight for this stage, but we're going to have to use everything Fred Wright's got right now, and Chris Froome not in a much better position. So we might have to switch it over to survival mode pretty soon, with Fred Wright out of energy, Chris Froome out of energy. It's going to be on Max Poole to do his own work for the rest of the stage. And with 5.5k to go, Max Poole still fighting next to Steven Kruijswijk, Jan Hurt, and Julian Alaphilippe. And Chris Froome able to stick with us for a little bit, but we cannot let that red bar empty. We need to try and recover going uphill as much as possible, as we can slow the pace right down, try and get a little bit of our yellow bar back, because it only gets steeper from here. It looks like that front group of 4 just a little too far up the road, unless we can make an attack there at the end. If they're cracked, we might be able to claw them back. And with 3.5k, Poole still has a tiny bit of energy. Chris Froome, we're going to go ahead and tell him to do his own thing. It just looks like he's getting Max's way. With 3k left, we're going to go ahead and pop our energy gel and set our effort a little higher. We should be able to come around Kruijswijk and Hurt, and Froome can just try and follow whatever he can. But 2.5k, we are 2 minutes back that front group, so I don't think we're going to catch them. But distancing ourselves from this little group should be doable. Jan Hurt looks like he has some stamina back, but our energy gel pops at the perfect time as we're actually going to have to turn it down. It was not the perfect time, it turns out. We've still got 1.2k left to go, as it looks like somebody's about to come around and win the stage. And I wonder who that's going to be. It's going to be, well, just give me a second. I hate how slow this goes. It's going to be Hugh Carthy, followed by Giulio Ciccone. But back to our efforts here. We're going to have a tiny bit left for a sprint, because we want this top 5. Kreiswijk isn't going to come around us, but here it might. And yeah, it's looking like we're going to come in 6th place on stage 5, which overall, it's decent. I'll take it. Chris Froome actually comes across the line in 8th as well. A really good result for him in his final season. And after that stage, we can see Max Poole has moved up into 6th place in the Tour de Romandie, 3 seconds behind Julian Alaphilippe. But if we take a look at the young riders category, Max Poole in 1st, Ben Healy in 3rd, and in the team category, we are also up by 4 minutes and 45 seconds. So it looks like those are wrapped up with only 1 flat stage left to go. And after we did confirm that final result at the Tour de Romandie, it is the 1st of May. It is transfer dossier season, and we get our first look at the riders that could potentially be riding for us next year. And we start off at the top of the list. There's some interesting names, some familiar faces. Tao Geoghegan Hart would be an interesting one. We do need a proper GC candidate if we're looking to get into the World Tour next year, and he has just about everything you could want. His stamina's a little low, but I think he makes up for it in other places. The 77 time trial is really good for our level right now. There's also another familiar face, Geraint Thomas, who's definitely on the downswing of his career. We'd probably be looking at a 1-year contract, and I don't even know if we can afford to sign them with the amount of money we have. If we go down the list, there are some interesting names though, like Santiago Buitrago could be exactly what we're looking for. If his time trial gets a little better, we just train him in stage races, he could be our guy next season. There's Ilan van Wilder, who, again, another GC candidate, which is kind of what we're looking for. And we do have some people that we want to re-sign. I don't know if we're going to re-sign Tom Gloag. It's going to come down to how much he wants. I think we can probably get better options like Buitrago for around the same amount of money. And I like that he's British, but I'm not tied to only signing British riders. This is Team Sky after all. We have some leeway here with signing international riders. And we also have, if I can find him, there he is. Leo Hayter is going to be a big priority for us to re-sign. He hasn't taken a step up yet, but we definitely want to sign him to a long-term contract before he does, because he has that 5.5-star potential that's going to come in really handy as we go on. And at the end of the day, I've decided to go with potential. The 5.5-star potential Santiago Buitrago, and the 6-star potential Matteo Jorgensen, who is already looking like he's going to be a problem. Both on low contracts, so we might be able to sign them for a decent amount of money, but it's not going to break the bank, and we'll be able to sign them for 3 years. And I think the next person that we're seriously going to look at is Geraint Thomas. I mean, we have to do it. He's good, he's old, but it'll be nice to have him back in the team. And after him, we can kind of open it up and see what kind of young riders we can bring into the team. And up next, we have our next objective, the Trobro Leon, a 196.9 kilometer cobbly flat stage. The cobbles aren't too crazy though. And this is going to be a day for Connor Swift and Ethan Vernon. Everybody else is going to be working for them. We're going to see if we can get Swift up there first, but Ethan Vernon's going to be kind of our backup plan in case the cobbles don't take out quite as many people as we're thinking they will. And with 25k to go, we're going to have to start our effort on the front Jan Sturi, is going to lead our guys out. The break still has a minute and 5 seconds, minute 10, somewhere around there. And Ben Healy is going to be in the position of getting us exactly where we need to be today. But with 22K left and a minute and a half still on our group, I don't know if we're going to pull them back. I'd like to think we could, but it doesn't look like a particularly strong group. But if nobody else is going to work with us, this one might be for the breakaway. And with 16K left, we have cut the deficit to about 45 seconds. But I don't know if that's coming down fast enough. Ben Healy on the front. We're going to be using him up pretty early before most of the cobbles, which we were hoping he would be able to navigate Connor Swift and Ethan Vernon through. But Fred Wright is essentially our third backup plan now, as we're going to crank up the effort a little bit more on Ben Healy. Because we can't win the race if we don't pull back this. No, Ethan Vernon goes down. This is going to be a lot tougher of a finish than I thought it was going to be. And with 10K to go, we have caught that front group. So it is going to be a sprint finish. Unfortunately, with Ethan Vernon's fall, that kind of takes him out of it. So it's going to be up to Fred Wright to lead out Connor Swift. And with 6.5K to go, we are in an excellent position right now. Ben Healy, Fred Wright, and Connor Swift all going to pop their energy gels. And it's going to be Fred Wright who's going to look to lead out Connor Swift as Ben Healy finally looks like he's done. Fred Wright's going to go ahead and get up to speed as Ben Healy actually holding on. And it looks like a group of 13 has gone off the front, as with about 2K left to go, it is Fred Wright and Connor Swift, and we're going to start our sprint with Connor Swift. No, we're not. I misclicked. No, we let our perfect position go for nothing, and it's going to be Alexander Kristoff. And if we didn't hit that misclick that I have done before, I think we probably take that, but instead it's going to be another failed objective. And after that incredibly disappointing finish to the race, we come to stage 1 of the Tour de Hongrie, a 167.2 kilometer flat stage. It doesn't look like anything crazy is going to happen. We're just going to set Sam Watson up for a sprint finish. And this is more just to get a look at some of our younger riders. So after this, we'll probably just hop over to the 2 hilly stages that are in this race and see what Josh Tarling, Darren Rafferty, and maybe old Chris Froome, see what they can do. And we pick back up with about 10K to go. Chris Froome on the front. Antonio T-Berry is going to be the one that leads out Josh Tarling and Sam Watson. But right now, Chris Froome just not getting it done. So we're going to set T-Berry on his way and just try to come around. Let's see if we can come over to this right side. X and Total Energy just doing whatever they can to block the road right now. So with 5K left, we're going to go ahead and use all of our energy gels. So now Josh Tarling can go on this left side, and Total Energy is still holding the pace right now. We're going to make sure we're on the sprint button for Watson. And with 1.5 left, we're going to go ahead and unleash Sam Watson, but it looks like he is just not up to par with the best sprinters in the field, and it looks like it's going to be Matteo Moschetti to take the win, and Sam Watson will come across the line in 11th place. And after another flat stage 2, we reach stage 3, a 177.9 kilometer hilly stage, which looks perfectly suited for Antonio T-Berry and Darren Rafferty. We're going to give those guys the preferred options here. So we're definitely going to go for a stage win in GC with one of those two. And we're here with about 18.5K left to go at the base of this second to last climb. Chris Froome going to get put on the front. We're trying to set everything up for Antonio T-Berry right now. Darren Rafferty, Josh Tarling also in a good spot. If T-Berry looks a little weak, then we're absolutely going to throw everything we have with Josh Tarling, because we want him to get as many good results as we can with all the potential he has. Now the break is still 1:05 back. We are reeling it in. I assume we'll catch it on that last climb, as we're going to have to turn the screw to catch up with some of these guys. Muschietti actually making the move to try and close that gap. It's 40 seconds now, but Froome's descending is really going to help us out here if we can get over the top of this hill in one piece. And it looks like he is just going to run out of stamina exactly when we need him to. So now Darren Rafferty can take over on 92. And with 5.5K left, we have reached the bottom of that last climb. So we're going to turn Darren Rafferty's energy usage up. Should be about a 4K climb to the top, so here at about 3.5, we're going to pop the energy gels on Tarling and T-Berry, and we're going to get Josh Tarling ready to take over for Darren Rafferty right now, right as Rafferty's red bar runs out, and T-Berry actually having a pretty hard time following Tarling, so we're going to turn it down a little bit and get ready for this final push, as we don't want to go too early. We're actually going to move Tarling up to 99 and get T-Berry ready for a sprint from about 500 meters out. And right about there, T-Berry can come around. Sam Watson can also come around. It's going to be a dominant performance for Team Sky, as Antonio T-Berry comes across the line in first, followed by Sam Watson and Josh Tarling. An all-Team Sky podium here in Hungary. And we can see Antonio T-Berry on the top step of the podium, getting his first stage win of the season. And if we take a look at the general classification, it's again Antonio T-Berry, Sam Watson, Josh Tarling in first, second, and third. A beautiful sight if you're the race director of Team Sky. And that will bring us to stage 4, the Queen stage of the Tour de Hongrie, a 203.1 kilometer hilly stage that the end looks more like a medium mountain to me, but I mean, we're just going to attack it with Antonio T-Berry no matter what the elevation is. So yeah, that's the goal here. Just attack with T-Berry and protect that GC lead. And we're here with about 12K left. Josh Tarling's job is just about done. We're right at the base of this final climb. Darren Rafferty can take over. Josh Tarling, good job today. But it's all going to be set up for Antonio T-Berry as we just look to stick with this front group. We're not going to do anything too crazy. We're just going to make sure these guys don't get away as we set Darren Rafferty up to 92 just to stay with this UAE train, so we can now move it down. We will have a little bit of a break in a descent in about half a kilometer, so we just can't let anybody get up the road. The break only 40 seconds ahead of us now. It's just Matthias Vacek, but we get over the top in one piece, and we are going to take advantage of this little downhill section, trying to save energy for T-Berry. We're going to get Chris Froome prepared for his job. But Darren Rafferty immediately going to go back onto 92. This pace set super high by Patrick Conrad. And we're going to get ready for Chris Froome right now. Darren Rafferty's job is done. And we're only 5.5K away from the finish. Chris Froome, his stamina looking a little suspect right now. But I don't think they're going to get up the road quite far enough to threaten our GC lead there. 33 seconds right now. Froome putting in the work. We're just going to have Sam Watson. No, we're going to let Froome and T-Berry go, actually. That's not the worst case scenario. I don't think anybody in that front group is quite onto us as we forget to use the energy gel. And it's going to be Antonio T-Berry on 92. Can actually up that to 95 as we're about 1K from the top. We got to close that gap a little bit. Our energy looking like it's in a pretty decent position. And with 0.3 left, we can get a sprint finish off right now, only 25 seconds behind the winner of the stage, Edoardo Zambanini, followed by Damian Howson and Patrick Conrad. And Antonio T-Berry going to come across the line looked about 25 seconds behind, so I think our GC race should still be on. And as we can see, it's a 24-second gap to that front group, which might actually put us in danger. If we take a look at the general classification, that bumps us down to 4th place. Edoardo Zambanini, Howson, and Conrad making up the podium now. So we have 13 seconds to make up on the last day. It's a flat stage. I don't see it happening. Unfortunately, we just couldn't keep up with them, but that's probably on me. I don't think I made the right call there at the end, just to not try and chase that group down a little bit harder. And that will bring us to the last stage of the Tour de Hongrie, a 152-kilometer flat stage. There is a little bit of elevation change, so we might be able to look to try and make a move with Antonio T-Berry at some point. He is a pretty good all-arounder, has a decent sprint on him, and I doubt we'll get into the breakaway, but these bonus seconds could be the difference between a podium and a 4th place finish for us here. And we are here with 13K left, and the front group has just been caught. Lucas Narukar trying to get us to the front. There does look like there is a move to be made, so we're gonna get prepped for that. Lucas has done a good job. We're gonna use up his energy. He's terrible on the flat, so it's not gonna outpace our team too much, as Josh Tarling is set to take the front with 9K left to go, and 87 for him. Narukar can sit back, let Tarling do his thing, and I think actually we're gonna have T-Berry follow Tarling. I think having Froome lead us out isn't the best idea, so we're going to set Tarling up to 95 right about now. Going to use the energy gels on our guys because we're trying to attack up this last little hill. This is a bit too fast for Antonio T-Berry right now, so we're going to go ahead and get him ready to sprint up this last hill because it's a little up and down. And right now Josh Tarling can go all out, and we can start the sprint with Antonio T-Berry. We need him to get up. It's not looking like it's going to happen, and it's instead going to be Alexander Kristoff who comes across the line in first, and we do not get our GC win at the Tour de Hongrie. Another race of regrets for me, but honestly, top 5, not a terrible result. We didn't bring anywhere near our strongest squad, so I mean, we do just kind of have to accept that. But as we have made it to halfway through the month, we do get some more dossier points for our transfers, and we of course will not be putting any points in this round. We are waiting for Geraint Thomas. We need the 18 to improve his interest in our team. But if you guys want Geraint Thomas, I will definitely try and sign him. But if you would rather go for somebody younger, like a Pavel Sivakov or Laurens de Plus, or who was the other option? Ilan van Wilder. Would you rather me go for G, or would you rather me go for one of these younger guys that aren't quite as good as G, but we can keep around for a couple years? If you leave a comment, I will go with whatever seems to be the most popular. And we have made it to the start of the last race of this episode. the Tour of Norway a 2-star objective where all we have to do is get a stage win. And this is going to be an 8.2 kilometer mountain time trial. So we have brought out the big guns. Max Poole in perfect condition, fitness peak, +3 day. He's going to be our number 1 guy. Tom Gloag also there. He has a decent time trial, but I don't know if he's going to be a favorite for this. So we're going to look for Max Poole, and if Oscar Onley has a good day, who knows, he might be able to bring in a win for us as well. And Max Poole will go ahead and set off. He's on a +3 day right now. Antonio Tieberry sitting in first place. We had a great run with him just in front of Ilan van Wilder and Sian Utebrooks. But right now Max Poole is our only focus. He looks to be in top form, and he is going to be our best shot at a stage win here at the Tour of Norway if he can unseat Antonio Tieberry. And right now he is looking incredible. We're going to go ahead and save some of our red bar for further up the mountain, but he is in a terrific position right now. We can actually go ahead and set it up to 88. Let him get some speed, because this is not what was going on with Tieberry and Swift in the first 2 runs. Max Poole looks like he can just ride forever, and we're going to look to try and get this steepest part as fast as we can. He's doing a great job right now, just holding on. We're going to drop it back to 86. We've still got 1.2k left to go. This is exactly where we want to be, and right after this corner it flattens out a bit, so we're going to actually bump it up to 87, 88, 89. We just want that red bar to fall off as soon as we cross the line, and Max Poole's going to sit tied with Antonio Tieberry for the lead of this time trial. And that's going to bring us to Tom Gloag, as he gets up to speed real quick, and he is not having a great day, so I'm not expecting much from him. We're going to leave him on 85 for a large portion because his stamina in the dumps, his time trial stat in the dumps, prologue even worse. So we're probably looking at like a 20th place right now for Tom Gloag. That would be ideal, as we can set the pace up a little more. Right now you can see we're having a great day overall at Team Sky. Swift, Onley, both in the top 15 for the time being, as Tom Gloag is going to struggle up this early part. He is going 21 kilometers an hour. It's just not going to be fast enough, so we're going to go ahead and kick this up to ×2 speed and just let him go up the rest of this mountain on 85. And that might even be a bit too much for him as we come around this last corner, and we're going to set it to 99. He comes around in 36th place. And right at the death, the last rider, Wout van Aert, knocked off Antonio Tieberry and Max Poole, which I guess should have been expected. I didn't think his mountain stat would be good enough against the likes of Max Poole and Antonio Tieberry, but he takes it by 20 seconds. And another bit of disaster, as the price of talks with the 6-star potential Matteo Jorgensen has increased to 20 points. And as good as he looks, and as much as I love 6-star potential riders, I think using 20 points on one rider is probably a bad call for our first season when we're just trying to solidify ourselves into the World Tour. So I think we are actually going to drop Matteo Jorgensen from our transfer dossiers. But up next we have the supposed mountain stage, Stage 2, a 121 kilometer mountain stage. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see them, but they are there. This is more of a false flat sprint finish after an early mountain. But regardless, we're going to look to send maybe Ben Healy. Connor Swift could be in play here, but if Wout van Aert's in good form, I don't expect us to take this one. And with 13k left, we have pushed the pace all day. Oscar Onley, Antonio Tieberry putting in some big work, as we have got the peloton down to just 53 riders, which feels like a win, as we're about to hit a little bit of a downhill, so pushing the pace isn't going to be our biggest concern. Our only concern is getting to that little false flat ahead of Wout van Aert, as nobody really making any moves just yet, as we're about 8.5k from the finish. Max Poole, Connor Swift, Tom Gloag going to be our three guys. Well, it's really just going to be Swift and Gloag. We're looking for the win here as we move it up a little bit so we make sure Aliati doesn't get away. I don't think he will, but T-Berry also coming up with just enough energy to help Max Poole out a little bit, but again, he is not the one we're worried about. So with 5k left, we're going to use the energy gels on everyone and up the pace to 92. We do not want this group to get away, and we're going to get Connor Swift ready on 95. So Max Poole can go ahead and hit 99 as Connor Swift can go ahead and start his sprint. And it's going to be Tom Gloag's turn to start his, but I don't see anybody coming around. It's going to be Mark Hirschi, followed by Quinn Simmons, Wout van Aert, and Tom Gloag. I mean, I think we raced that one pretty much as well as we could. Swift never got his sprint off, but I don't think that would have mattered anyway. But it looks like another top 5 will have to do. And it seems like this episode has gotten a little long on us, so that's going to have to be it for now. In the next episode, we will do the remaining 2 stages of the Tour of Norway. Both look incredibly winnable. They've got little hills there at the end, which is perfect for someone like Connor Swift, who's in good form, or Tom Gloag, if he can do a little better than he did last stage. And in the next episode, we will show some stages from the Dauphiné, the Tour de Suisse, so we get a little bit of all of our riders, and all of the national championships will be in the next episode. So if you don't want to miss that, be sure to subscribe, leave a like if you enjoyed the content, and as always, I will see you next time.